Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today I want to look at Megidramon. I think in Special Booster 2.5 we have a lot of great support for Megidramon. I think it stands out as its own deck very differently than the way I like to play Chaos Gallantmon. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at what I'm doing with this card and how I like to run it. So you can already see from the eggs we got something funky going on here. We got 6 eggs. The reason why is because I'm going to recommend you a generally most consistent egg, and then I want to highlight some other eggs that you can run. So first of all, I want to say what I'm going to recommend you guys is EX2 Gigimon. When attacking, if you have Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon in your name, you're going to draw 1. That's great. Consistency, awesome. Drawing cards, awesome. Some funny cards that you may or may not like to run depending on your consistency. This BT12 Gigimon. Add 1k to the maximum your DP-based deletion effects can delete. This can actually put us at some really great magic numbers that make some of our deletion effects really powerful given the right stack. So I want to throw that out there. I think this is a fun egg. And then if you're really worried about dying on the swing with your bigger stacks, this ST7 Digimon is not bad at all. Your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gets plus 2k DP for the turn. So I did want to highlight these other 2 eggs as options, personally, because, you know, I like my high rolls. I love this egg. But if you're looking for consistency, you should draw the drop power Gigimon. So our rookies, 3 copies of the BT17 Guilmon. Your turn, once per turn, when one of your Calumon or Tamers with Takato Matsuki in their name is played, delete one of your opponent's Digimon 3k or less. If this effect didn't delete, gain a memory. Gaining memory is great. Deleting something small is great. What we care about more than that is that this inheritable says all turns will have 0 or less memory. Add 2k to this Digimon's DP-based deletion effect maximums. What we really want to be doing here is getting a big stack with a big stack of these DP increase deletion effect inheritables, and then digivolve into something that passes turn to increase all of our thresholds and then force a deletion on a really big body. So this is one of the inheritables that's going to get us there. We do want 4 copies of the new BT19 Guilmon. Start of your main phase, if you have Takato or Calumon, you gain a memory. I think this is just better than the BT17 one. As long as you have one of these 2 resources on board, you're going to gain memory. And spoiler, we're going to run both. The inheritable is exactly the same, adding 2k to our DP deletion effect maximums as long as we have 0 or less memory. Then we are going to round it out with 4 copies of Guilmon X Antibody. Evos on Gigimon or Guilmon for 0, so you don't have to worry about having Guilmon in the stack to actually get into this. On play and when Digivolving, reveal top 3. Add a card with Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name and 1 X Antibody, applying them to your hand. Return the rest to bottom deck. So this is actually a fantastic searcher in this deck. It can grab us our X Antibodies and grab us our Growlmon Gallantmons. The inheritable says when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted, you gain a memory. Considering we want to be pumping up our DP-based deletion thresholds, this is just a nice way to get memory back when we pass over by Evoing, especially because Megidramon's kind of pricey to Evo into. This is a nice way to grab memory back. For level 4s, we're going to be running 2 copies of EX3 Growlmon. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon 3k DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, both players trash top 2. We're going to be running Crimson Mode Ace, so the trashing effect is nice. Popping a small body is nice. What I really like here is this when attacking inheritable. Once per turn, you may delete one of your other Digimon to have this Digimon gain security attack +1 for the turn. Because we are running the new Calumon, this is a funny way to put it back in security and net some value after we get the value from Evoing off of it. So we can potentially promote a BT19 Guilmon, gain a memory, tap the Calumon, Evo into this for free, go into Growlmon X, swing it, pop the Calumon, it goes in security, and now you've netted like 2, 3 memory of equity and recovered 1. I think that's fantastic value. If you don't like this card, go the BT17 Growlmon. That increases your DP deletion threshold, but I like to include this in my list. We have 4 copies of the new BT19 Growlmon. When Digivolving, if you have 1 or fewer Tamers, you may play a Takato Matsuki from your hand without paying the cost. So that can potentially net us 2 Takatos on board, which is awesome because that can net us both kinds of our Takatos on board. The inheritable is the same. When you have 0 or less memory, you add 2k. We're going to have a lot of that. And then we do have 4 copies of the EX8 Growlmon X. When Digivolving, you draw 1, trash 1. If Growlmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon sources until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gains on deletion. You may play 1 card with Guilmon in its name from your trash without paying the cost. This is also really synergistic with our idea of sacking a Calumon on the swing with the EX3 Growlmon underneath it. We can get in some really cheeky damage if we somehow survive both checks. 2 damage, recurring a Guilmon, and getting a Calumon in our security is not bad at all. And then we get our stack back to essentially play with after the fact. The inheritable will also gain us some memory when any of our opponent's Digimon are deleted, so that's going to stack up nicely with the Guilmon X as well. Moving on to level 5s, I like 4 copies of the BT17 WarGrowlmon. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6k DP or less. If this effect did not delete, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. This is one of those magic numbers that we actually hit with the DP increase egg. If we have a Guilmon and a Growlmon underneath this, that actually goes to a 10k deletion threshold. So you're kind of likely to hit the sec +1 most of the time if your opponent's actually playing the game. But with that other Digimon egg, you can actually get this up to 11k, which is funny because it hits a pretty decent range of level 6s. So if you care more about the deletion effects, that might be a better egg for you in this application. The Inheritable is really nice here too. When in effect deletes an opponent's Digimon, you may unsuspend this Digimon with Gallantmon in name, and because Megidramon counts as Chaos Gallantmon, we get to unsuspend our Megidramon when we pop something. So that's pretty awesome. We do also run 2 copies of the new WarGrowlmon Ace from BT19. This is a Blast Evo, and I think it's a really fantastic Blast Evo. On play and when Digivolving, you delete up to 3k DP total worth of your opponent's Digimon. For each of your opponent's Digimon, you add 2k to this DP deletion effect maximum. Then for each Digimon this effect deleted, you gain a memory. So you have the potential to steal memory if you ace into this on the opponent's turn. If you have that DP boosting egg, this is a 4k deletion threshold, and then you can get 2 other DP deletion threshold increases on this to actually make it a 7k DP total. Plus the 2k for each effect. This can just delete tons and tons of Digimon on the opponent's board. The Inheritable also adds 3k generically, not just when you have 0 or less memory. So during your turn, you just get 3k more on your deletion threshold, and that's really nice on our Megidramon in its own right, because it's only a 10k deletion threshold. So that actually puts us up to 13k. On the Megidramon Ace, we hit 14k, so just a great card to have in our stack. Lastly, I am on 2 copies of the EX8 WarGrowlmon X Antibody. This does cost 1 to evo on WarGrowlmon. When Digivolving to the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon can't be returned to hands or decks and gets 3k DP. If WarGrowlmon or X Antibody is in your sources, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon 10k or less. With the boosting, obviously it's going to be higher. You're going to hit most level 6s. It's really, really kind of funny. If you're at 0, you tuck the X Antibody, you swing at your opponent, evo into this. Now you have all your DP deletion threshold increases online. You pop something really big. You can gain memory back to keep turn, and then you can evo back into something like Megidramon. Depending on the WarGrowlmon underneath this, you can actually unsuspend this, go into the Megidramon, swing again. So there's just a lot of fun stuff you can do with this card. 2 copies of Megidramon Ace will start out our level 6s from the LM pack. On play when Digivolve, you pop something 11k or less, and then all turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area, you play 1 Guilmon in its sources or from your trash without paying the cost, and then this gets tucked underneath it, so it does not trigger the overflow when it would leave, and you get a basically free stack to play with, and the Inheritable will add 5k to your DP deletion effect maximums. Our main boss monster in this card, in this deck, is going to be the EX2 Megidramon. It counts as a Chaos Gallantmon. It costs 5 to evo, a little bit pricey, but when Digivolving, we're going to delete one of our opponent's Digimon with 10k or less. If nothing is deleted, we trash the top 5 cards of both players' decks. This is good in both rights. In boosting our DP, we are going to guarantee that we can delete something. Definitely going to delete something on the opponent's board. There's really nothing that we shouldn't be able to hit unless it's like a huge Digimon. And then if we don't hit something, we get to mill 5, and that potentially sets us up for the Crimson Mode Ace to finish off the opponent after this hits the board. On deletion, we can play a Guilmon and a Takato from our hand or trash without paying their memory cost. Excellent value when this leaves the board, and it just sets us up to build another stack later. Speaking of the Crimson Mode Ace, 2 copies. It's a great finisher in this deck. Obviously, we build trash, we delete things, and then we have DP boosting. So generically, this is going to pop 15k total of your opponent's Digimon. We're going to boost that. This can get to an absurdly high number that I'm not going to figure out right now, but I'm sure someone in the comments will figure it out and tell me. When attacking, for every 10 cards total in both players' trash, you trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Great effect, great ender for this deck. As we mentioned before, I'm on 3 copies of the new BT19 Calumon. I think this is an amazing card. I love it so much. It's so much fun to play with. Security, you play a Digimon card 2k DP or less from your hand without paying the cost. We are hoping to play another Calumon with the effect to keep maintaining our value on the board. Main, by suspending this Digimon, one of your Digimon can evo into a card in the hand with the cost reduced by 2. So the longer this stays on board, the more value you're netting. All turns, this Digimon cannot attack or block. That's fine, because on deletion, you place this card as your top security. So if you know this is in security, you can set up your hand to hopefully play something later, and you can use this to get value. You can plan your turns around it. It's kind of obnoxious for the opponent to deal with. If you don't like this card, by the way, you can slot in scrambles. You can change your ratios around to fill in the 3 cards. I would recommend you go 2 scrambles and then fill in another slot somewhere else with another card. But I think you should be open-minded to this card. I think it has a lot of potential. We do have 3 copies of Offense Training. We have the Guilmon X's to search. We're not super pressed about actually cramming in the 4th copy here. Main, reveal top 2, grab a red card. That's fine. This does whiff X Antibody, and it does whiff Calumon. We're not too worried about the X Antibodies because the Guilmon X can grab it. Really, all you have to worry about when you play this is that you can whiff Calumons, and, you know, that's give and take with the card. 2 copies of the X Antibody, as mentioned. Swinging and evoing into X Antibodies is good in this deck. I don't think you have to run Protoform, especially because we don't mind passing over the memory beyond 0, so being able to swing and evo into something like the Growlmon X is not bad at all. Then for our Tamers to finish off the deck, 2 copies of BT19 Takato Matsuki. start of your main phase, or start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, set it to 3, so he's a memory setter. And then when any of your Digimon digivolve into a card with Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name, by suspending this Tamer, that Digimon gains raid for the turn, then that Digimon attacks the player. So it's kind of giving you raid blitz. It's a great way for Megidramon to get over opposing Digimon when you evo, and it basically doubles up on our blitz inheritable from EX2 Takato, not inheritable, but the blitz effect from EX2 Takato, but slightly better. And then speaking of EX2 Takato, we do have him at 3 in the deck. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you can suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory. I like that effect because we are already running memory gain inheritable, so this is a potential to gain 3 memory on 1 turn, which is just strong. And then it does guarantee the blitz effect when digivolving if you tap him down. So we're making sure that when we evo into something big, we're hopefully popping something and then swinging, potentially raiding into something. We're trying to just break down the opponent's board and make sure they can't do anything. So that is what I'm doing with Megidramon in Special Booster 2.5. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know which egg you think is actually best in this deck. I like all of them. I think they all have their applications, and I do think it is preference-based at this point. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you to our channel members for supporting this channel. It's people like Langlong, Big Z11, Coffee Deus, and DigiDane who make videos like this possible.